After careful consideration of the nominees, this year's recipient of the 2017 OSPA Ohio School Psychologist of the Year Award is Dr. Paul Mooradian. Dr. Mooradian received his bachelor's in psychology and his master's and doctoral degrees all from Kent State University. He has worked as a full-time practicing school psychologist in the Akron Public Schools for over 20 years. Prior to that, Paul served as director of the College Development Center at the State University of New York at Albany for 3 years, and as director for Cuyahoga Community College, Kent State University Collaborative Projects for another 5 years. Both roles included extensive supervision, research coordination, grant writing, and program development and evaluation. Paul's present duties in the Akron Public Schools primarily center around his providing comprehensive school psychological service delivery for 3 challenging elementary schools in the district. Paul is being recognized today for his tireless efforts in bringing improved procedures and practices within response to intervention, multi-tiered systems of support in this challenging urban district. Paul streamlined and clearly defined the roles and responsibilities of intervention teams across the city, created and delivered professional development training for all of these teams, identified obstacles to successful intervention implementation, and assisted his teams in collaboratively finding solution for any barriers. Paul did this for nearly 30 buildings in his charge, all while providing that support to his home buildings. He provided feedback to select teams that he identified as needing more intensive support from him and others, and he delivered those supports. In addition to that daunting project, Paul is also being recognized for his exceptional dedication and leadership as the co-chair of the OSPA Spring Conference Committee. He previously coordinated the poster session functions at our spring conferences for many years prior to his appointment as co-chair a few years ago. Since assuming that role, Paul has integrated his conference planning efforts with the Fall Conference Committee co-chairs and delivered high-quality professional development that is thoughtfully matched to the ongoing needs assessments of the members in this room. Paul has gone above and beyond to research topics and speakers, develop training goals and specific agendas for the membership, publicize and promote these events, and coordinate our on-site logistics. In all of these endeavors, the data speak, and they speak loudly. The data include increased attendance at our conference events, increased revenues for our association, and high marks from our attendees on their conference evaluations. For those of you who are unaware of the full scope of what it takes to finance an association like OSPA, these costs are considerable. We have 2 fantastic employees, office, phone, internet, mailing, website, insurance, taxes, and on and on. A few years ago, OSPA was taking on some water financially, and we needed to make an important course correction. And of our 2 conferences, the spring conference has always been kind of the little sibling of the 2, fighting for attendance, fighting to supply revenue, to break even, or at least fund some of these expenses that I've discussed. Because of all of these challenges, there had even been some serious discussion about discontinuing the OSPA Spring Conference. There were a lot of variables that came together, a lot of people past and present who worked together to turn around the bottom line of our association, many of whom are in the room today. One of the biggest factors, though, was the dedication and leadership of Paul Mooradian. The training and professional development of hundreds and hundreds of school psychologists in the past few years has been entrusted to his capable hands, and Paul has delivered for Ohio school psychologists. As his former colleague, Dr. Kate Lovick, put it, Paul is an extraordinary practitioner with a deep fund of knowledge that he easily communicates with colleagues and parents. He cares about the success of his students. He is the driving force behind positive change in his buildings. He does all of this with a warm smile and friendly personality. Paul is an exemplary school psychologist. As his nominator and colleague, Mrs. Stephanie Jozwikowski, put it, Paul is an asset to the field and to those who have the privilege of working with him. His continued involvement at this point in his career is beyond admirable. He is a humble, hardworking school psychologist and is profoundly well-deserving of this honor. As former OSPA president and Akron colleague Terry Bendo put it, if I ever grow up, I want to be like Paul. It is with all of this in mind that the Executive Board of the Ohio School Psychologists Association is pleased to recognize Dr. Paul Mooradian as the 2017 Ohio School Psychologist of the Year. Congratulations, Paul.
Thank you, Dr. Kubik, for the most gracious introduction. All I can say is wow. I am truly honored and I am humbled by this show of appreciation. Before I begin my remarks, I would like to recognize some guests today. My dear and lovely Aunt Madeline, 90 years young, who's still going strong. My surrogate mom, my surrogate mom from Akron. I have my cousins, Debbie from Avon Lake, Diane from Norton, Helene and Danny from Farmington Hills, Michigan, and Christine from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Thank you guys for taking your time to join me today for this special event. I am very blessed to have a family like you. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my friends and colleagues at the Kent-Akron Area School Psych Regional for forwarding my nomination to the OSPA Awards Committee. Special thanks goes to my dear colleagues Stephanie Jazwiakowski and Kate Lovick, and my boss John Biltz for offering the beautiful letters of recommendation on my behalf. It is deeply appreciated. Thanks also to the OSPA Awards Committee for the work you do every year to organize the awards process and conduct statewide balloting to select the School Psychologist of the Year, and to the OSPA organization, which provides the platform for this annual recognition for school psychologists in our state. And finally, I'd like to thank all of you across the state who honored me with your vote. I first became interested in school psychology as I was completing my baccalaureate degree in psychology at Kent State University, and like most psych majors, began wondering just what the heck am I going to do with this degree? A classmate and longtime friend of mine, Eric Wonderly, hello Eric, told me about the school psychology program across campus in the Graduate School of Education. It sounded intriguing and meshed well with a number of interests I had as an undergrad, including cognitive psychology, reading processes, and children with disabilities. I applied and was accepted to the school psych program with a specialization in prevention systems intervention, coordinated by the late Dr. Donald Wonderly, one of the pioneers of school psychology in Ohio. In the summer of 1977, approximately 1 month after graduation, I began my graduate coursework in school psychology. I found the coursework stimulating and challenging, and following 3 academic quarters and 2 summer sessions, I was off to my internship at Medina City Schools in the fall of 1978. So you can imagine that, 1 full year with the quarter system and 2 summer sessions, and we were in internship. I credit my intern supervisor, Alvalin Larson, with teaching me the proper dress and deportment of a school psychologist that has always stayed with me. My uniform for the next 40 years has been sport coat, tie, and dress slacks. Just ask my colleagues. During my internship, I applied for and was accepted to the doctoral program, and following my internship, I began my doctoral studies while working at the then fledgling PSI Associates, providing school psych services to parochial schools on the west side of Cleveland. In 1983, I returned to the Graduate School of Education as a graduate assistant, followed by a university fellowship, and began working toward a career in higher education. Teaching undergraduate and graduate courses and practica, participating in research projects, grant development, and planning for my dissertation. By 1985, I had a full-time administrative position with the graduate school and became coordinator of collaborative projects, including High Schools for the Future, funded by the Gunn Foundation, and minority teacher recruitment, funded by the Ford Foundation. In 1993, I took my first full-time position away from the Kent State nest and was off to the University of Albany as director of the 2-year College Development Center for 3 years. Through a series of unfortunate events, mostly budget-oriented, I found myself back in Ohio in 1996 without a job. Needless to say, I was disheartened and discouraged, but sometimes things happen for a reason. And so in 1997, I rejoined the field of school psychology and never looked back. After reestablishing my Ohio school psychology credentials, I was hired by Dr. Elizabeth Bard and joined the Akron Public Schools Child Study Department. I joined an energetic, forward-thinking staff of seasoned veterans, including quite a few who have shared this dais, including Perry Clark, Terry Bendo, Maria Krause, Susan Kruger, Don Syracusa, Patrick McGowan, and many other notables on our staff. I was immediately thrust into the state-of-the-art in the practice of school psychology, and this has been the case ever since. As I said, sometimes things happen for a reason, and this was my reason, my purpose. It was what I was meant to be and meant to do. To this day, I firmly believe that. During my 40-year career in school psychology, I have seen many changes, some good and some not so good. Although our jobs have certainly become harder and more demanding, school psychology has been a great career. I've always found school psychology to be an honorable profession, personally rewarding, with great opportunities for leadership in the schools and systems we serve, for educating and mentoring others, and for helping children, families, and our communities. People do indeed look up to us. And when others ask what we do, and we tell them we're school psychologists, they admire the work we do. Looking forward, I believe the future is bright for school psychology. I've had the opportunity to supervise a number of interns over the years, and I have to say that the skill sets of the students coming out of our university training programs are phenomenal. The early career and mid-career school psychologists are ready to take on the challenges of our field and are hungry for responsibility and leadership opportunities in the profession. OSPA has been fortunate to bring many of these on board to bring new blood and energy to our organization. I would also like to take a moment to recognize OSPA because the work of OSPA has never been more important, from providing quality professional development opportunities such as we have here today. And thank you, Dr. Forcade, and also Jennifer Glenn from the Fall Conference Committee for another great fall conference, to the important advocacy and lobbying in the state legislature on issues critical to Ohio students and families provided by our Executive Director, Ann Brennan. At the Spring Conference 2018, we will be celebrating 75 years as a state organization, predating the National Association of School Psychology by 25 years. What a remarkable achievement. As a shameless plug, I would like to invite and encourage all of you to join us April 19th and 20th, where we have a timely and stimulating program planned with some fun events and activities planned as well. I would like to conclude my remarks today by recognizing all of you, for the good work you do in your school districts every day for the children and families you serve. I've had the opportunity to interact and work with many of you through the years, some as students of mine, some as classmates, some as colleagues, and some as fellow members of our regional and state association. I must say, you are among the brightest and most talented group of people I have ever worked with anywhere. In my book, you are all School Psychologists of the Year. Thank you all again, and God bless.